Now, you think I'm frustrated about the budget, the spending bill, the lack of money for the border wall. How about the author of In Trump We Trust, E Pluribus Awesome, New York Times bestselling author, and very courageous in the way she spotlighted the utter intolerance of the left, the radicals who contributed to her not speaking at Berkeley last week. But, of course, on top of all that, we had Ron Robinson come on the show the other day and say some pretty edgy things about Ann and all of this. We, as you can imagine, we wanted to get Ann right back on the Mike Gallagher show, and she's able to join us today. Hello, Ann Coulter. How are you?
Hello, Mike Gallagher.
I love your tweet. I'm reading your Twitter. Today's border wall construction update. Miles completed yesterday, 0. Miles completed since inauguration, 0. Next update tomorrow. You are pounding away on something that the American people are glad you're relentless on. Let's get the wall built, right?
Yes, and I can't wait to start showing the progress.
You gonna have pictures?
I want it to get bigger every day. I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully it will start soon.
But they keep insisting. I mean, every day you hear Sean Spicer and the president insist it's going to get done. Are we just running out of patience prematurely, Ann?
I don't think so, but I will say, and it's not just because I consider Trump the emperor god. But I will say I think this has a lot to do with Washington and why we elected Trump in the first place. I mean, Trump knows more about most things than I do. One thing, at least at this moment, and before he moved to Washington, I think I know more about, and that's how Washington works. Though he's getting that lesson right now. So, he's meeting with all these congressmen and senators, smiling and shaking his hand, and then they go right back to their offices to try to undermine him. This is how Donald Trump emerged as the winning candidate of the Republican nomination, but the winning candidate in the presidency, taking states that Republicans haven't won for 20 years, including Wisconsin, by the way, when Paul Ryan was on the ticket. You would think after having seen that, if you were Paul Ryan or Mitch McConnell or any of the rest of these Lilliputians, that seeing Trump win, and a big win on November 8th, November 9th, they'd scratch everything off the calendar and set to work so they could present Trump with a wall bill the day after his inauguration. Yeah. They would start working on repealing the helping him with creating jobs and ending these heinous trade deals and limiting the number of foreign workers coming in to take American jobs. But no, oh my gosh, they get to Washington and it's Paul Ryan's agenda. We're right back to tax cuts. And, I love tax cuts. I don't like the government to take money. I think that's bad. But I'm starting to really hate tax cuts, Mike Gallagher. This isn't what Trump was elected for. People who don't have jobs aren't worried about taxes. We wanted jobs and a wall and protecting Americans and putting Americans first. And, oh, my gosh, these disastrous Obamacare repeal bills, it is utterly typical Republican reform. Right. And that is, we're going to keep the whole socialist system, but we'll give you less free stuff. Right. How do you like that, America? As I proposed in a column with the last disastrous Obamacare light bill they were considering, it's more complicated when it comes to how you actually, what portions have to be repealed and so on. But the concept of what needs to be done here is shockingly simple. Welfare cases are welfare. Those get paid for the way all other, and I'm not being, vicious about the welfare cases. Yes, some people are, slothful and don't work. But in the case of healthcare, some people just, they have a kid who was born with an extremely expensive problem. Right. No one bears them any ill will. But there's no reason for us to pay for that as a society by taking it out of Ann's premiums, Mike's premiums, your listeners' premiums. No, let the rest of us who are healthy and can afford to buy our own health insurance buy health insurance sold on a nationwide free market. The reason health insurance is so expensive and the reason young people don't buy it is because the most corrupt entities in the universe, state insurance commissions, they control what every insurance plan has to cover. Obamacare just took it to a higher level to do it nationally. So across the country, state after state, they require, some of them are federal requirements, but a lot of them are state. You can't buy health insurance unless you are agreeing to insure against needing gambling addiction therapy, marital therapy, pediatric dental care, maternity care. It would be like requiring people in Florida to buy earthquake insurance and people in California to buy hurricane insurance, except it's much, much, much more expensive. That's why your insurance premiums are so high.
Right.
And we know how much it would be on a free market because we do have, it would be less than $50 a month. That's what it is for all of these Christian it's basically health insurance. By law, they can't call it health insurance, but that's how much it is.
Right.
If you don't need maternity care and psychological counseling and 8 billion other things that I at least am quite sure I will never need.
All right. Charles Krauthammer said last night on Fox News, the problem with today's Republicans is they keep saying we're going to do it next time, give us till September, and next time never comes.
Coincidentally, that was the point I made on Hannity
I saw it.
Tucker last week.
I saw
it. Next time. I'm sick of this. This is exactly what happened at Berkeley. Well, no, you can't speak this time. But don't worry. The next conservative speaker will be able
We'll get him next time. We'll get him next time.
We had them on Berkeley on the ropes, and all we needed to do was file for an injunction requiring Berkeley to allow me to speak. Unless the judge was Howard Dean, we would have won. Berkeley would have had to provide a room. But no, we'll just sue for damage. Next time.
Right.
This is the Republican disease. We thought with Trump it was going to be, no, we're winning this time. Remember all that?
But he's different, right, Ann? Don't you think if anybody runs out of patience, it'll be him? Don't you?
Yeah, no, I haven't. I certainly haven't given up hope. I'm exalting him, and exalting his promises from that magnificent campaign.
Yep.
But I really think he is being undermined, as has happened to great men before. I think he's learning what Washington is like, and as soon as we get back to the Trump promises, you want to do something that's popular, you want to do something that makes the Democrats look really, really bad, and the weak-kneed Republicans, force a vote on the wall.
Right.
Democrats would be terrified to vote against a wall.
Right. You're right. You're exactly right. All right, you brought up Berkeley, and of course, the one thing I did like about it is the clarity that was exhibited in what the left won't tolerate. You had some very unlikely support, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Bill Maher, of course, which is not a big surprise. I mean, obviously he's a big free speech proponent. Ron Robinson, the president of Young America's Foundation, was on our show the other day, and this is what he said about the way this thing all played out. I want to make sure you have a chance to respond. Let's listen.
You sound frustrated with Ann Coulter.
Yeah, because I think she's lying about the circumstances in which this can win. She still could have gone to Berkeley. She's just looking for cover by attacking the people, not attacking the university, but by attacking Young America's Foundation and the students who stick their necks out. She says we abandoned the campus. These students are still there.
And what do you have to say about what Mr. Robinson had to say about you?
Well, it was obviously Berkeley's fault. It is true I should concentrate my fire on Berkeley, but YAF, Young Americans Foundation, did capitulate. They acquiesced in this and left me high and dry. As I said before, we were winning. We had the facts. We had the law.
Right.
When you have the entire left wing, I'm glad we have exposed, and this is a point that needs to keep being pushed. I've been thinking about this, and Thurgood Marshall and Martin Luther King, they had their disagreements too, and maybe I shouldn't have pointed out, but it was just very, very frustrating that when it came time to pull the trigger, and again, the one thing that needed to be done, I read the complaint written by the lawyer Harmeet Dillon, a friend of mine. I read the complaint Sunday night, and it requested, as we say in the law, a TRO, a request that the court order Berkeley to abide by the Constitution.
Right.
That's how we vindicate constitutional rights in this country.
Right.
And again, unless the judge was Howard Dean, no judge could have denied that and still face his colleagues the next day.
With a straight face.
We would have won, and YAF demanded that Young American Foundation, my allies from Washington, demanded that Harmeet pull the TRO request, the request for an injunction. I didn't find that out until like midnight Monday night. I'm going around talking about on
TV and stuff. Yeah.
saying, no, we're going to get an order. Berkeley and the Berkeley police, I'm going to speak there. I'm going to speak there. And then when they refused to do it and told me if I went to Berkeley would have nothing to do with YAF, over the same thing that Berkeley had been alleging all this time, there's going to be violence. I kept saying, nice try, I'm coming.
Right.
And YAF. And so I said, well, for one thing, they wouldn't return Ron Robinson. None of them would return my calls on Tuesday when I'm hysterically emailing and trying to say this is a mistake, this is a mistake.
Right.
Suddenly they get very chatty the next day. Then they'll email me. Lawyer wouldn't take my calls, so I found another lawyer, a lefty lawyer in Las Vegas who was willing to file the TRO. He couldn't do it for YAF. YAF had hired the attorney, but he could do it for the college Republicans. I don't find out. I have funding. I have a lawyer. I don't find out until after midnight Tuesday night. YAF has ordered the college Republicans not to file their own TRO. Well, then it's over.
Mm-hmm. But you have to. You started to say a moment ago, and I'm focusing on this too. You have to feel good about exposing the utter intolerance of the left and the way this was all handled by Berkeley, and how really dastardly they behaved with this. You without you willing to go there in the first place, that would have never played out the way it did, right?
Yes, I think it's important for people to see this is not a one-off. And as you know, and probably a lot of your listeners know, and YAF certainly does know, this isn't unusual.
Right.
This kind of thing is going on nonstop all over. Oh, and just before we move on, love the YAF guys, enjoy talking to them, think they made a huge mistake here. And I was very frustrated that we didn't file for the court order. So we'll end that there. But here, I mean, you hear about it all the time. Well, look at these poor young men. I'd be terrified to send a young man to a college campus now.
Yep.
I mean, you ought to put him in a chastity belt because he could be utterly falsely accused of rape, expelled, have his reputation destroyed. Mm-hmm. All of the nonsense that is going on, fraternities being shut down over having Mexican siesta.
I know. And I love
taking over the college campus.
And I love the technique, the tactic of the media to say, now they're saying, well, there's extremists on both sides and violence. I mean, the showdown is represented by both sides of the spectrum. No, it's not. The violence is coming from the anarchists and the vicious thugs on the left.
100%. And also, I think it's worth pointing out that now it's time to move to the next hill, which is these ninny liberals. I mean, even some of the ones saying, well, of course she should speak. But still saying, yes, but she says hateful things. Oh, get over yourselves. What have I said that's hateful? Let's try, Hillary Clinton laughing at a victim of child rape. How about calling half the country deplorables? How about the things Al Sharpton has said that have actually led to riots and death? He has his own show on MSNBC. So, no, let's knock off this business about a few jokes of Ann Coulter being some, shocking beyond the past. But we let the Nazis march. Oh, F you.
All right. So where are you going next? Where's the next speech? Where I'm sure you've already got somebody on your radar.
I have some not in the immediate future. Summer is coming here.
Yep.
I know I have a bunch of speeches lined up, but generally I don't have that many in the summer. I know I'll be at Politicon out in California. Yep. Oh, and actually, there is an event July 27th out in California.
All right. Listen, you were willing to wade right into the lion's den and didn't come off the way you had hoped. But again, lots of people have been reminded of the way business as usual gets conducted at a place like Berkeley over a conservative speaker. So thank you, Ann, on behalf of millions of people who appreciated your strength on this.
Thank you, Mike Gallagher. Bye-bye.
Take care. Ann Coulter joining us here on the Mike Gallagher Show.